Hey everyone, it's Sentypes, and today I'm going to be talking about something that's actually kind of a big deal, although it's kind of broad as well. And I'm talking about the Pokemon TCG YouTube meta, which is kind of a weird thing to talk about, but like what's happening with YouTube and Pokemon TCG right now. And it's kind of weird because, as you know, the Pokemon TCG players are a small portion of the Pokemon franchise as a whole. You certainly have YouTube channels of pack openers, well over 1 million subscribers, and you have channels of players of the video game, well over 1 million subscribers, and we certainly are not close to that with anyone who plays the TCG, which is kind of a big deal because really reaching 1 million subscribers is a sign that, like, if someone has 1 million subscribers within the community, it shows a sign that the community itself has made it. And we're very far away from that. So I wanted to talk about that a little, look at why it's happening, what the reason is for this, and just look at what's happening in the YouTube scene as well. Because, of course, I'm a YouTuber. I'm a very small YouTuber. But in the Pokemon YouTube community, I'm not actually that small. I'm still small, but I'm not completely, I'm someone who, like, exists in the scene, which if it was a larger community, I certainly wouldn't really be, but and we'll get to that, I suppose. So first of all, the top YouTuber, at least in terms of subscribers, is Tricky Jim or Andrew Mahone. So he has 105,000 subscribers. Last time I checked, it may be a little higher now, but it's around that. And his channel is growing very slowly, I have to say. I mean, not like very slowly, certainly much faster than mine, but slower than it should be for the fact that he's the biggest YouTuber. And by the way, I'm not counting let's see, Frosted Caribou or PCG Radio. They're not really in the same scene. They're kind of pack opening. PCG Radio's news. Frosted Caribou doesn't really make much content anyways. So, yeah, Andrew Mahone / Tricky Jim, definitely the top YouTuber here in the Pokemon scene right now. And I think I'll just move on to the other YouTubers that are also worth a mention. So here, the next tier, these are the other ones that I think are worth a mention. Of course, there are some other ones, but these are the big ones in my opinion. Azul GG, Little Dark Fury, Zapdos TCG. For the Win TCG, we have Sealers Network, OmniPoke, Dark Integral Gaming, who, by the way, Dark Integral Gaming is the, I believe, the next biggest YouTuber, and still a very solid presence in the YouTube scene, but Dark Integral Gaming did take a break for many, many years, so still catching up a little. But then we have Trust Your Pilot, Bird Speed TCG, and Tablemon. So these are, in my opinion, the big ones. There are some other ones, the Shuffle Squad, but they're kind of in a weird place right now. So yeah, these are like the big ones. And of course, they're not as big though. Dark Integral Gaming is over 50,000, but and the rest are all below 50,000 subscribers. So in the general YouTube scene, they're all relatively small. I'd say 100,000 subscribers means that you're a very solidly set YouTube channel. Not that you're like that's enough to make minimum wage. I don't believe that most of the people on this list make minimum wage. I'm not sure about that, and of course that varies depending where you are. But yeah, so these YouTubers are large for the Pokemon TCG community, but in the terms of the general YouTube community, they're relatively small. And most people out pretty much they're exclusively within the Pokemon TCG community, unlike most larger YouTubers. And I suppose I should clarify that a little in saying that YouTube videos, for most games, are not necessarily watched by people who play those games. For example, of course, the Pokemon video game, a lot of or the pack opening, a lot of the people who watch those videos don't have anything to do with Pokemon at all, or very few things. Versus most people who watch the Pokemon TCG gameplay style videos play the Pokemon TCG, limiting the community a lot. And one thing they have to say about that is, one, people aren't super innovative, myself included, and people play it very safe. So we see a lot of just deck overviews, which tend to do decently within the community, but of course, if you're an outsider, you're never going to click on a deck overview, because why would you, right? You don't really care. And also, the Pokemon TCG as a whole, the playing side of it is relatively small as well, but it's not tiny, specifically with younger people. I'd say it's aimed at probably an elementary school audience, which would be maybe around 10 years old or something. For those of you who don't have elementary schools, I don't know how schooling systems work in other parts of the world, but it's certainly aimed at a very young audience, the Pokemon TCG. And yet the videos are aimed at certainly an older audience. My videos are aimed at an older audience. And also the YouTubers themselves are actually all very old. Pretty much all the top YouTubers here, I think all the ones I've looked at, are at least a decade older than me. And maybe not all of them, but a lot of them are. And I'm a decade older than the target audience of the Pokemon TCG, which means that there's 2 decades between someone like Andrew Mahone or any of these other people and the target audience of the Pokemon TCG, meaning there's actually a significant generational gap, which is kind of weird. Makes it hard for them to connect to their audience, which is it's strange, but it's true. So I'm wondering, the big question is, in my opinion, who's going to reach 1 million subscribers first? I've talked about this before, and then I think that Pokemon TCG, in order for it to succeed in the long run, will need someone to hit 1 million subscribers. So now is my brilliant time for suggestions. I know all these YouTubers are going to watch this video and act on these suggestions, but in all seriousness, I think Andrew Mahone, for a long time, has acted as the most influential figure in the scene. And he is, but in some ways he needs to not act like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you see YouTubers trying to grow, they need to team up with people bigger than them. That's not the only way, but that's a way to grow quickly. So Andrew Mahone or any of the other YouTubers, myself included, or anyone, needs to try to team up with someone, preferably with, I'd say, over 1 million subscribers, but it doesn't have to be. But other people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Many of you might not know this, but Andrew Mahone, or the Tricky Gym channel, was previously called, I believe, Darium's Competitive Pokemon, which was a spin-off of the channel Darium's Pokemon. I think. I don't know if that was the exact name, but it was a pack opening channel, and then they opened a competitive card channel based around this, led by Andrew Mahone. I don't know if it was led by Andrew Mahone initially, but it very quickly became his channel, and it did well. But for those of you who don't know, that channel has 300,000 subscribers, and it's not even a very, in my opinion, in many people's opinion, a major part of the Pokemon TCG YouTube scene. It's a small channel, yet it's massively larger than the biggest Pokemon TCG gameplay channel, and it like created one of the biggest, or it created the biggest Pokemon TCG channel around. So this is the way things kind of weird. And I'll actually mention a few people here now, or actually one person here, that being Celio's Network, who has actually kind of done this in the form of joining the Pokemon TCG team, or the Pokemon team Beast Coast. This includes, I don't know actually who's on this team, but I know a few people who are quite big in the Pokemon scene as a whole. Wolfie VGC and Cybertron VGC, 2 top video game, well, I don't know if Cybertron plays anymore, but 2 very talented video game competitive players, as well as Wolfie VGC has, I believe, over 1 million subscribers at this point. It is connected with larger people as well. But I think this is a very important step. And we also do see collaboration some. We've seen a few between Stelios and Lodark Fury. And we've seen some other ones as well. So I think collaborations are also something that needs to happen. So I think collaborations with people within the community and people beyond and above the community are the way to figure out this, fix the situation. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts on this, as the community is kind of struggling. And it needs some support, especially with Pokemon TCG Live. When this video releases, it may be out of beta, which is a big deal. It's the biggest thing that happened to the Pokemon TCG in years. So, well, it's pretty close. It probably is, because of course, one thing that people also need to understand is that most people are online players, or if you want to access the largest amount of people, it's online casual players. So that would, of course, be through Pokemon TCG Live at this tomorrow or today or whenever Pokemon TCG officially comes out. The way will be through Pokemon TCG Live online, like the online client of Pokemon TCG Live, casually, right? No tournament stuff. You can talk about tournaments, but most people want to just know how to have fun casually and watch people not play super seriously. And most of them don't play super seriously, but they're clearly aimed at, a lot of the videos are aimed at competitive players, and most people don't care about competitive. Of course, TCG players do sometimes care about competitive. In fact, a lot of them do. But in order to expand to the general YouTube community, most of those players don't. If you talk about the latest regional tournament, people don't really care that much. We have seen people starting to branch out to say, like, the competitive content branching, saying, like, oh, this is the biggest tournament ever. They say that about, like, every tournament, which is not right, but whatever. They're trying to branch it and brand it in a way that's not aimed at TCG players, but aimed at non-TCG players. I've notably seen this in Birch PTCG, Tablemon, and That's about it. But yeah, we see these new people trying to brand the channels a bit differently to grow. And I think that's very important because the YouTube scene is changing, or it's not changing enough, but it needs to be changing. And the channels that are seeing more success are like changing things. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm wondering what's going to happen with the YouTube meta in the future. And I imagine we're going to see new YouTubers pop up. I don't know who that would be. There are certainly a wide variety around my size. Of course, me, some of the people I'm fans of, and I think hopefully are fans of me. If you're not, that's fine. But people like All Out Blitzel, Ember Power, Professor Poke, they're younger, and they're just like smaller but up and coming, and can add some new ideas. And we've certainly seen this in the past. Where like a new YouTuber comes into the scene. I'm looking at someone like Trust Your Pilot, who does something very unique, exclusively talking about live. Not exclusively, but pretty much exclusively talking about live. And we see just new ideas, and the more new ideas that come into the scene, the better. Of course, things can go awry, but I think in the end, it is the solution that has to happen. But honestly, I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen in the YouTube scene. In fact, live is bringing some drama, which is going to be exciting and kind of crazy and possibly bad, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to the future, though, and I hope you are too. Of course, if you want to support the YouTube community, the number one way is to watch all the YouTube, as many Pokemon TCG YouTube videos as you can, and subscribe to those channels. Any of these channels you see on screen, any other channels around mine, I'd certainly love it if you subscribe to my channel. I promise I'll be upping my content. I will. I'm busy at the moment, but very soon I will have lots of time to just pour into content. So I'm super hyped for that. And also any suggestions, anything I missed, I'd love to hear about that. But I'm looking forward to the future, and I hope you are too. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video. Paldea Evolved is here. That's cool. Live is here. That's cool, I guess. But yeah, let's get hyped. See ya. Also, the sky outside my house is turning red. That's kind of bad. I'm sure it'll be fine, though.